got to like about Federer, though, he really gets in that working mode quickly, whether he's a big favorite early in the tournament, really starts to prepare himself. You know, because practice, your brain's a little different than match play.
It is 3-0, and the scratch on the break did not cost Gorst in the end. You were mentioning, Jeremy, that he got engaged in Paris to Kristina Tkac. It's a great time for Kristina. We know her because obviously she's done some work with us in the commentary box in the past. Lovely person, and I'm delighted for her, not just on a personal level, but also on a professional level, because recently she won her first WPBA Tour event, the Iron City Invitational in Birmingham, Alabama. And it was a real big achievement for her because she'd been so close so often this year, and finally she's broken through.
Yeah, and if you've kept track of that WPBA Tour, it's not getting any easier like this World 9-Bowl Tour. And she had finished second twice, I believe, in the previous 2 pro events on the ladies' side, and then snapped that event off. And I'll tell you, is there a better smile in the game, really, than Kristina Tkac? I mean, she's really just a lovely person.
Yeah, I believe Margarita Fefilova was the runner-up, and the great Alison Fisher was third in that event.
Yeah. Yeah, great cast there. And speaking of Margaret, unfortunate we're not going to have Tyler Steyer here this week. He was in Europe training, getting ready for this event, but had an outpatient surgery he needs to go take care of, so he flew back to the U.S. And then really unfortunate, because you talk about someone who's trending. He just won the last 2 ranking events in America. Now, they're a little smaller, but still a lot of great players he had to beat to win those events.
Okay, then. So Gorst won the first 2 racks, if you're just joining us, via a break and run out. The third rack did more damage, I think, to his opponent's psyche, because Hai Long Lei missed the 9-ball, a very makeable 9-ball.
All right, not his best break off as far as the cue ball was a little lower than normal, so Federer will pay attention to that, but he's getting shots after the break. A little off angle here on the 2. Love to get an angle on the 3 right there in the center of the table to become 2, so he could come 2 rails off the red 3 to get out of grouping up the table, the 4-5. I don't know. Can he shoot the 2 on the side and go 1 rail between the 5-8 up to the center of the table? That would be pretty ideal. May have to take the 2 on in the corner, but now it looks he can get through there, so it should be simple here. 1 cushion. And now he's just picture perfect, besides having to make a difficult shot, but he's perfect to come 2 cushions at that 4-5.
Well, not quite the desired result. It was a phenomenal effort, and he does have some reward.
Yeah, he put more speed on that, expecting to hit the other side more into the purple than the pink, but now he's a little awkward with the 8 there. Like, where's the purple going exactly? Is this a pocketable ball? All right, use the upper part of that shelf in the corner. Maybe thinking of the Worlds, I don't know. He's really starting this tournament off in pretty perfect place so far. Now, Federer usually likes to run past this 3 rails. Could lay up a couple 2-3 rails for the 7, the brown 7 in that same right middle. Should take it on with the 8 pretty open. Just run 3 rails to the center of the table. I think what you'll see too here from the players, they'll say the bed's probably going to play a little faster also. Saw some of those comments in the UK Open where I think the humidity really just kind of toughened the tables up in all aspects.
So efficient. This wasn't an easy rack, and yet he's solved the conundrum. It is 4-0 with 3 break-in run-outs. Fedor Gorsh, the main man on the World 9-Ball Tour in terms of ranking, and indeed because he won the World 9-Ball Championship in Saudi Arabia in June, the main man is looking precisely that. He leads 4-0. So let's take a look at these other scores. All German affair on table 7. Dennis Waldecker 2-0 up on Nicholas Doer. Fitim Haradinaj and Norman Bakker 2-2. Besar Spahiu 2-0 up on Samir Al-Karimawi. Ronnie Oldervik from Norway 2-0 up on Alvin Angito. Quick start for Alexa Pachelsch over Ernesto Kajoni. 3-0 there. Max Lechner 2-0 on Hendrik Franke. Do Tae Kien of Vietnam 2-1 on Walter Laker, and as I speak, Alvin Angito has got his first rack on the board. Over on table 2, Aloysius Yap is looking good against Sei Seoa. The Singaporean number 1, he leads 3-0. He's hardly made a mistake. By the way, I can tell you we have a couple of results, if you like to call them that. AJ Manis not here, not for this match anyway. So Daria Seranchuk of Ukraine has got a walkover. Same for Mubarak Suleiman Al-Wahabi. Walkover over the USA's Danny Olsen.
Yeah, I thought when I saw that list that Danny would make this event, but of course we talked about Tyler Styer. Unfortunately, he can't make it.
Well, another significant walkover, Jeffrey Rodder not involved. The beneficiary of the bye, if you like. Fawad Abdullah Almadan of Saudi Arabia.
Might see a pretty one here with Fedor Gorst. Would play the bank 2 onto the 9, but the 6 is in the way, so I think he'll play the cue ball. Come a couple rails off the right side and just drift the cue ball at the 9. Won't have a ton of speed, but should get the 2 in somewhat of an odd position near the 6 off a couple cushions. I fancy his chances here. This lays pretty natural. Again, wants to use a little right English, not much. There it is.
Well called, well played. He really is living up to his reputation, which is enormous, isn't it now? I was just thinking, you know, Jeremy, 256 players ostensibly here. He's out on his own, he's unique. 255 of them are thinking about world rankings. A lot of them are thinking about Mosconi Cup and Reyes Cup. All of that burden has been lifted. He's going to be world number 1 for a very lengthy amount of time. He knows that for sure because of the prize money he earned in Saudi Arabia. And also, he knows he's going to be in the Mosconi Cup, and the Reyes Cup, well, that's not available to him because it's Europe against Asia. So he's here solely to win this title. Thoughts of rankings very much on the back burner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he was the type that would try to leave that behind anyways, but yeah, we used to talk about it back in the day that, you know, pool, of course, it's come a long ways with sponsorship dollars for players and whatnot. But if you were upper echelon, top 5 guys, you know, you just went to the tournament with a little different outlook than a lot of the other players because they're trying to make their name, get more sponsors, get a sponsor. Whereas if you were top 5 or so, or one of those big names, you know, you kind of went into the matches and the tournaments a little more free rolling. But, you know, we've seen in individual sports certain players really kind of transcend the sport and take it somewhere, and I think we're fortunate enough in pool not only to have this guy that's about to break the balls, but another 4, 5, 6 others that are really going to take this sport to another level. Boy, this 2's going to dress up. I got kicked over. Still may dress up.
Doesn't that 6-ball know who Fedor Gorst is? Very rude. And the thing is, he's so cool, calm and collected. He's got so much experience. Sometimes we forget he's still only 24 years of age.
Yeah, he's really, you know, the complete package when it comes to on the table and certainly off the table as well. And got many years of doing it still. Looks like, I don't know. I guess he's going to take the longer cue to take this jump shot since the 3's a bit away. Now this, depending on how the hop of the cue ball comes about, he's got to watch out for the upper right corner with the cue ball, I think, especially with the 6 there. Well, we're going to see high at the table again off of another foul. Got a little information, got a message about man at the table, and lived, actually represents Vietnam, but has lived here in Germany for quite some time and has been a player here, so probably won a qualifying event, I would guess, or got in the event some type of way through qualification.
It's hard to articulate just how popular Fedor Gorst is in the entire world of pool, but particularly in Vietnam. So in many respects, this is the most nerve-wracking draw Hai Long Lei could possibly have had. He's not just playing a top player, he's playing someone who is hugely known in his home country, and he's also playing him out there in front of the TV cameras. It is the biggest ordeal I think you could have possibly given him.
I agree, Phil, especially first round match. And nice clearance besides that 9 ball there in rack number 4. So little straight 6 is pretty handy, but he's got to work back for the 7. So we'll see. Looks like rail first. This isn't going to be his best. You can see a little look to the pool gods there. And just like the 9 ball, he missed a little let up on the stroke.
Well, that was a classy effort.
Yeah, very good. With the compact style, watch out for the little bit of a thick hit here. Easy to do on the rail. And I think you would agree. I think out of all the places, of course, we've gone to, the local players in Germany, I think, has impressed us the most.
Definitely, it's a tough school here. The Bundesliga they play and the national tournaments have to be hard fought to win them. Now, let's hope he doesn't do what he did in the third rack, which is miss the 9 ball. He does need the bridge. Very well done indeed. I think he's too good a player to say he's happy to win a rack. He wants to do more than that, and I think if he does go to the one-loss side, he might win matches over there, from what I've seen so far. But it's always nice to get that first rack on the board. The last thing you want to do is to come into an event like this and be whitewashed. And of course, when you're 5-0 down to Fedor Gorst, there's always that possibility. So at least that's been removed now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see him break the balls here in game number 7, see what he's got going on at that end of the table. Haven't seen much tactically yet. It's been Gorst on breaking runs or play with a clearance and missing the 9, and then a nice clearance there in game number 6.
Robbie Capito was so impressive in winning the UK Open. He's 4-0 up on table 2 against Patrick Lee Cowell. Masato Yoshioka 5-1 on Samir Alwan. And Ralph Suke over on table 14, the great German warrior, the veteran. One of the most successful players Germany's ever produced. He's 2-0 up on Matthew Wrigley. Michael Schneider of Switzerland, 2-1 down early against Dan Afriat. And my second pick, Victor Zielinski. He leads Mohsen Sadawi 5-1.
Pretty good. A little on the light side overall, but got the 1 down. Has a tough shot on the 2. A very difficult layout here, but gets a chance to get started. You know, we always talk about it, always comes up, especially like if Efren's around, who's the greatest ever. And I think that argument, at least for the modern era, has come down to 2 players between Efren and SVB. But I mean, if you think about just players down the line a little bit, I mean, you got to throw Ralph Suke in that mix. I mean, he doesn't have maybe the 1 pocket and some bank pool wins or whatever. There's different disciplines, but he's not just a 9-ball player. He's had great straight pool career. He's had a great 8-ball career, and really has won every tournament on the planet.
Yes, and he conducts himself with utter professionalism. Yeah, got a soft spot for the Kaiser, there's no doubt about that.
Really nice opener there on the 2. A little unfortunate to fall flat on the red 3, and not so much just to get on the 4, but get on the 4 properly to get to a very difficult 5-ball up on the top rail, a purple 5. Could hold for a bank on the 4. I think it does play by the 7-9, but that was all about trying to get the cue ball out to the center.
By the way, just a reminder, over on table 1, this is the TV table. Table 1 and table 2 are also in close proximity. Over on table 1, Aloysius Yap 3-0 up on Seo Seoa of South Korea. The 4th rack has been very lengthy, very tactical to start off. I think the impasse has been broken because Yap's just potted the 1 and dropped nicely on the 2 with an open table now. But the start of that 4th rack, extremely drawn out.
I think there's 2 ladies in the event. Is that right? Pia and Sal, I think. I think those are the only 2 ladies that kind of went through the draw last night looking. But
needs to run. Yes, the junior event, which is going to be taking place here later in the week, which always accompanies these big ranking events these days. The junior event is the Fillers Junior Open, which is co-hosted by Joshua and Pia.
Okay, this got just enough. I don't think he has to go up and down. No, he can kill it. I definitely see a little more speed on the bed here in Fulda than I saw at the UK Open. Nothing crazy, but it is going to help the players here and there. Yeah, the speed's going to be a hair off. He wasn't in love with that delivery. You could see a little shake of the head, and it wasn't so much the outcome here. Most players don't care about the outcome as much as they just don't like the feeling of an off stroke. Wow, he's not even shooting at this. This is very playable. Now, if he comes 2 cushions, top cushion, right side cushion at the 7, the brown 7, it's the type of shot you don't want to hit with a lot of speed for a few reasons. You don't want to lose accuracy first off, and there's lots of ways to not make the 7 and keep Federer off an offensive shot. Is he going 1 cushion here? Got to go 2. Yeah, he's looking for the 2 cushion escape, and again, I'd say on the lighter side of medium. That's what I like. It may not produce the best shot on the 8, but I think percentage-wise, that's the way to go.
It was a good effort, but not good enough, and it should have cost him the rack. Yap, by the way, did take that chance. The match on table 1 is available over on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. And if this one is over quickly, which looks as though it might well be, I think we might get a taste of Yap against Sio on our main coverage. 6-1 to Gorst. Hai Long Lee has just made a couple of errors. And you can't do that against someone of Gorst's incredible class. Alvin Anggito from Indonesia, 4-1 down now to Ronnie Aldervik. Vesel Spahiu, 5-0 up on Samir Al-Karim Awi. Dennis Valdecker, 4-1 on Nicholas Doer. Alexa Pachelj, 4-1 on Ernesto Gajoni. Max Lechner, never write him off, 4-0 up on Hendrik Franke. Do Tien, or Do Tae Kien, 4-1 on Walter Laker, the youngster from Sweden. Yuma Dormer from here in Germany. He leads Sasha Andre Tegger, 3-1. Dimitris Lukatos, 3-1 up on Yuri Pisklov. Dennis Grabber from Estonia leads Simon Kunzel, 4-2. Yannick Pongers, good player from Holland. He's 4-1 up on Radoslav Babica. Robbie Capito, 5-0 on Patrick Lee Cao. Masato Yoshioka, Naoki Oi's World Cup partner. He leads Samir Alwan, 6-1. It's still 2-0 for the Kaiser Ralph Suke over Matthew Wrigley. We can only assume the third rack there has turned into a real good old-fashioned grind. I was saying that Michael Schneider was behind early against Dan Afriat. Well, now Schneider leads 3-2. And Victor Zielinski on the hill, 8-1 over Mohsin Sadawi. The youngster from Iowa, Sam Henderson, hasn't made a good start. He's 3-1 down to Joe Prince.
Yeah, Nice break off there. Cue ball got a little kiss on the pink. Don't think he really has much on the 2. I don't know if he's sizing up a push shot here. He has a couple kick options. Could kick to come behind and hit the 2 and kind of run the cue ball over by the 9, using the 3 to hold the blue 2. May have a sliver of the blue 2 to look at straight off the break here. All right, he's pushing out as he's shooting through on the 6 to push the cue ball between the 7-8.
It's a eureka moment on table 14. Ralph Souquet did win the 3rd rack. When it went like that, we thought, yeah, his extraordinary tactical acumen might well carry the day, and it did. He leads Matthew Wrigley 3-0.
Yeah, this is a difficult one. You know, normally I don't think you'd pass this very often. It's a little odd coming behind the 4-5-9 with the cue ball. And not only that, you got the Fedor-Gorst effect with the jump cue. If you're Lee. Is he hitting downward on this? Wow, he's hitting a draw stroke, or is he dragging this with some spin? Yeah, he's dragging it. I got a friendly bump there.
Yes, no contact on the 9, and the 2 would have been left.
Yeah, difficult rack here with the 6-7, the 4-5, and all that. I would have hated to burn my extension right here on this blue 2 myself anyways. Especially knowing you're going to the air. He kind of took his time doing all that. Maybe, you know, in time you'll learn you want to save that extension.
Yes, on that topic, I thought during the World Championship there were numerous occasions where extensions were taken in panic mode very early on in big matches, and because they took them so early in racks, it came back to haunt them.
Yeah, absolutely, Phil. I think it's every tournament, let alone the World Championships, $1 million purse, of course, the title and everything that comes along with it. But I think every tournament we pick out players, once they get down in the tournament a little bit, they start to stress about every ball. And if that's the case, you're going to burn your extension quickly. And, you know, there's always, you know, the motto of, hey, no shot is more important than the one in front of you. But you have to learn how to kind of be that coach and manager and maybe not burn that extension too quickly.
Yes, just to put you in the picture if you don't otherwise know, it's a 30-second shot clock with 1 30-second extension per player per rack. And of course the shot clock is only in operation on the main table for the first 4 days here. Now you might be wondering, well, there's no dedicated referee for this match, and there isn't, but there is a timekeeper, of course. And I was talking to Marcel Eckhart, the senior referee, this morning, and he was explaining that if there's a rules dispute or a query, then the roving referee will be called in, and during that process the shot clock will be stopped. Doesn't happen too often, once in a blue moon, but there you can see Julian Roper is doing the work on the shot clock.
Yeah, going to the air. He had 1 foul already. Very awkward cueing with the 6-7 bridge in between the 6-7. Probably just tries to hit this in the face and bang it around. No, what a shot. And that's the only reason why I said maybe a safety instead of making it position. Well, I mean, here, you know, we play all ball fouls, all that. And, you know, sometimes you're not going to call a referee for a touch foul of some sort, something you can't anticipate or think's going to happen. And really over a few years of this, really no real issues with the players as a whole. All right, just tries to coast the cue ball over, trying to leave something long, trying to get the pink past the side.
You know, the way he jumps. What about this for entrance music? Jump by the Pointer Sisters. It'd be perfect.
Oh, Van Halen's jump ain't bad either, so depends on what your flavor is. But yeah, the Pointer Sisters, that was a pretty popular song, I'll tell you. What was that, mid-'80s or early 80s, something like that? All right, looks like he's going after this.
Well, it's Hai Long Lei's turn to have a little bit of good fortune. We cannot begrudge him.
No, probably 3 rails behind here. I kind of like maybe the kick up the table, 2 cushions, but this is all right as well. Just kind of feel like you may send the pink towards that 6, 7, 8.
No contact made at all, surprisingly.
Yeah, there was a little contact at the end that made a difference, though, bumping the green 6 open. He's got to pay attention here. I would like to get above the 5 myself here. I may shoot this in the opposite side or draw back above the 5. You want to get the cue ball back. Well, now he's going to have to draw into position, which is okay, but there's a gap. Yeah, this has gotten a little thin. Can he kill the cue ball nicely going by the 8-1 rail? Looks like it. Nice. Tip's coming up a little bit, so maybe trying to come 2 cushions. Yeah, that's going to be way light. The way he's looking, maybe he was trying to bump the 8 a bit there, Phil.
I think so, because otherwise the misjudgment would have been ridiculously off. Yeah, I think he was bumping the 8, wasn't he, or at least attempting to. Terrific recovery.
Yeah, beautiful. Really kept control of the stroke. Easy to kind of overhit that, overcut it. Got to pay attention to all these, though, and that's the difference with this pockets we have now on the World 9-Ball Tour.
Well, Hai Long Lei missed the 9-ball in the 3rd rack, but he didn't miss the 9-ball there. That was a good run out. And so, 6-2. If he can win the next couple of racks, all of a sudden we're starting to think it's more than respectable. It could be a little threatening. Now, we've told you about some walkovers, but in terms of actual matches played, we have the first result. Viktor Zielinski raced to a 9-1 win over Mohsin Sadorli of Germany. That was over on table 5. If you're up early in the United States watching this, you'll want to know how BJ Ussery is doing against Dean Shields. Well, he's doing well so far. The Mosconi Cup candidate. He's 5-1 up. Sam Henderson from Iowa, 4-1 down to Joe Prince. Daniel Masol, a fine player from Poland. He leads Andrei Ionescu from Romania, 5-1. And Neu Kioi fresh off that win in Finland. He's 5-3 up on Khalid Al-Otaibi. And joining us in the commentary position now is Pool Royalty. The king, well, the self-appointed king, Carl Boyes, who's just given Jeremy Jones some money. Let's get the not the ornithologists, the naturalists in to see if we can see any...
It's good to be the king, Phil.
Yeah, see if we can see any old rare moths out of Carl's wallet. He's not even commentating yet, we're giving him stick. Don't know where I got all ornithologists from. That's birds.
It's looking fresh, though, Carl. Look good. Ready to go?
Yeah, he's leaving because he's not got a microphone, so he can't give us stick in return.
Well, that's what his shirt says, kick and stick. Like I said, maybe a little on the light side, but very effective. Making 2 balls on the break. I don't know if a 3-6 combination is playable. It's close. Doesn't appear he's taking much time, but thinking about it a bit more.
Tell you what, though, now Carl's not here, we can actually praise him up. I thought his call in the deciding rack of the World 9-ball final, when he basically predicted the scratch from Declan Catchy, that was a very timely and accurate call, wasn't it? So congratulations to Carl for calling that one out. It wasn't congratulations to Catchy, though. It was a heartbreaking way to lose.
Yeah, Carl recognized that, you know, a lot of times your worry is what's in front of you, not thinking about the cue ball. Catchy was worried about catching the 9 on the way by, went a little above it and lost the cue ball. And still super impressed with both those players. I was a little shocked that last game that there were a couple openings I thought each player would take on just because of how great they were playing, but elected to play some safeties in that final game, and you kind of understand it.
Yeah, I think it was the gargantuan prize money and the ranking points on offer that dictated their conservative, cautious approach. It had to be.
Yeah, and I think, you know, to be fair, the prestige of the World 9-ball Championship was put back in place there in Jeddah this year compared to where it had been the last, you know, honestly, the last 8 or 10 years. It just didn't feel like the event it should have felt like, not only to the players probably, but me as a spectator when I watched there in Qatar. I just never got the feeling like I wanted to for a World 9-ball title. All right, no hit here, so he's going to try and tie more balls up, which doesn't always help you. Now he can shave the 3, I think, and run the cue ball up the table, leaving the same kind of situation for his opponent.
Yes, and while he's working out his options, when you talk of prestige, that is the byword for the event that's coming up the week after next in Atlantic City, the US Open. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's still my favorite event, even though I'll tell you, this week or a couple of months ago there in Jeddah was something incredible. But of course, being from America and where the game really came about, And I'll tell you, since it's moved to Atlantic City, it's been pretty impressive. The fans have been incredible. It seems like the tournament's grown even bigger. And moving it up a month or so this year, so I think the weather will be even better. Yeah, really nice hit there from Lay. 6, and that grouping on the bottom rail, the hit on the red 3 was just as important as anything, no matter the outcome.
Couple of players on the hill. Masato Yoshioka, 8-2 on Samir Alwan. Robbie Capito, 8-0 on Patrick Lee Cowell. Pays not to mess tactically with Fedor Gorst. You've only got to look at it, what he does in one pocket tournaments. This year alone, he's won the one pocket of the Bayou State Classic, the Derby City Classic, and the Mini Derb as well. And in previous years, he's had wonderful success in that form of the game. Not done too badly in 9-ball this year. Started out with a win in the Turning Stone Classic in New York State. Whirlpool Masters here in Germany, beating Joshua Filler in a thrilling final. The rally in Shenandoah Valley, 9-ball Open one, and of course the biggest of the lot, the World 9-ball Championship. But I think I'm right in saying if you're a one-pocket expert, you have got a very good, a very sharp, defensive, tactical mind.
Yeah, and just playing more of that game makes that mind even better. You just get a great gut instinct on how the balls react a little bit more. You know, when you're shooting a ball, you know, like this pink 4, you could take your neighbor and he can kind of tell where the cue ball is going a little bit, just instinct without even playing. But when you're hitting foreign pieces of the ball, that's kind of like where Efren always shines so much. You know, many of them were just as good pocketing the ball, but when you're hitting off a little piece of it, the story changes a bit. We're just going to roll forward here, maybe bump the 7 a hair and glue to the 6.
I think that's what you call locked up.
Yeah, and Federer's probably a little upset. He thought the cue ball would probably come up a little more and cut off this left side rail, but is he looking at 2 rails? Does he have to go 2 cushions here? Oh, wow. Big underdog to hit this, coming 2 cushions, especially jacked up.
Masato Yoshioka has won against Samir Alwan 9-2.
Masato's been around a minute, right? Don't you think he's playing the best pool of his career, though? I think match in, match out. I mean, doesn't always win them against these greats, but it seems like he's always in it.
Yeah, I think playing under the pressure of the World Cup really helped him.
Yeah. I'm surprised he played that with outside English. I thought he would play with inside to spin the 6 a little more towards the pocket.
I must say, when it went 5-0, the way it went 5-0 with 3 break and run outs and one piece of inspiration from Gorst in the missed 9 ball from Lay in the third rack. When he went 5-0, I thought this was going to be quite a simple assignment. It's turning out to be not hard work, but he's having to put his back into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Needs a little left spin here. He'll whiff this kick. Yeah. How often we see that kick missed by the players. That second rail just doesn't open up like the players imagine, like their club table possibly. Now Gorst has many ways to play this ball in hand. Probably uses a side cushion. Could follow or stun. Hard to tell sometimes with his cueing. Yeah, that's the shot I thought he'd play, the stun.
(7-2) to the world champion. It's actually turning out to be quite a useful run out, this. He's not under a great amount of pressure, but he's being forced to employ all aspects of the game in the contest.
Yeah, absolutely. And talked about at the beginning, he really just doesn't take matches off, understanding a big favorite here, but a man that's capable as an opponent. But Federer's getting ready for the tournament right here in the first match, and like Phil said, got to see many parts of the game here early.
Robbie Capito is a winner by whitewash, 9-0 over Patrick Lee Cao. The perfect start over on table 2. By the way, on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel right now, you can see Aloysius Yap against Seo. Yap is leading 5-1. So just a little more than halfway towards victory. (4-1) for Ralph Suke over Matthew Wrigley. 6-3 now for Yannick Pongas against the veteran from Poland, Radoslav Babica. Same score in favour of Denis Graber over Simon Kunzel, 6-3. Dimitris Lukatos, 5-1 over Yuri Pliskov. Yuma Dorna, 5-1 over Sasha Andre Tega. And it's looking good for a couple of fine players from Europe. Alexa Pashelch, 7-3 over Ernesto Hajoni. And Max Lechner, 7-0 over Hendrik Franke from right here in Germany. It was a slow start for Nicholas Doer, who's done some good stuff, actually, on the World 9-Ball Tour in the past. A slow start for him against Dennis Valdecker. Now, though, Valdecker's lead has been reduced to 5-4. Fitim Haradinaj, 6-3 up on Norman Bakker. Alvin Angito, 6-4 down to Ronnie Aldervik. I can tell you, Pashelch has just moved to the hill against Gajoni at 8-3. Do Tae Kien from Vietnam, 6-2 up on the Swede Walter Lakra. And Talal Al-Blushi, 5-4 on Dominic Diesenrieder from right here in Germany. Vijay Usri 2 racks away from victory against Dean Shields at 7-2. Sam Henderson fighting back against Joe Prince. Prince's lead reduced to 4-3. Daniel Massiol on the hill against Andre Ionescu, 8-1. And Naoki Oi, 6-4 on Khalid Al-Otabi. I was talking about that win in Finland for Oi. Well, the highlight performance, he beat Francisco Sanchez-Ruiz in the final 11-8, but he beat Riku Rompainen, the 17-year-old Finn, 10-2 in the semi-finals, and David Al-Kaidi 10-8 in the quarters. He was obviously playing very good pool at the weekend.
All right, pretty good break off. I think he does have a real first on the blue too. Don't think you'll see him push regardless, even if he has to jump the ball a bit, but I think he's all right.
On table 21, Daniel Massayol has come through with no sweat, beating Andre Ionescu 9-1.
Yeah, Federer kind of sizing up, getting on the 6 ball right now. He's got to get on the purple 5 off the red 3 here. Is he trying to stun all the way across? Wow. So that was all about being able to get on the green 6 a little better, whether it be the combination on the 6-7 or the 6 to the upper right. All right, all speed control here. Can't come so tight to guarantee the shot. Yeah, that's going to be a little heavy, I think. And all that is he had to get into the ball to create that angle a bit, and that's when speed control becomes a little difficult.
And as always, Jeremy, you're right about this table. It is on the quick side.
Yeah, the weather's just perfect. I mean, this morning was just beautiful to get up to, and looked at it for all week. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast, so amazing. I know we play indoors, but it does have a direct effect on the conditions of the tables. A little heavy with it there. Great hit there. A little applause from his opponent. A little tap of the table. Now does Federer roll off the right side of the 6 here? He's not taking a whole lot of time. It's kind of more natural to come off the right. You got to get into the ball a little more off the left. Just maybe cozy behind the 8, the black 8.
On table 1, Aloysius Yap has just deposited a very simple 9 ball. He leads Sio Sio 6-1 now. The hit, yes, but the scratch, oh no.
Yeah, didn't dig on the cue ball quite as much as he wanted. Trying to hold the cue ball behind the brown 7 as a 6 went up table. Maybe leaking it in that side pocket, but the leak was with the cue ball. This is going to get Federer Gorge to the hill. Could use 2 cushions or 1. I kind of like the 1 myself. Just comes down the straight down the right side.
This lovely town is surrounded by rolling hillsides, and now, in a pool sense, as Jeremy said, Gorst is on the hill, 8-2. Very historic place, you know. In 744 AD, in the 8th century, Saint Sturm, who was a disciple of Saint Boniface, founded a Benedictine monastery here. So you can go back many, many centuries.
Is that how the town kind of developed?
I think so, yeah. There's a big American connection here as well, actually, because for a number of years, the Downs Barracks was HQ for the 11th Armoured Cavalry Regiment and also the 14th Armoured Cavalry Regiment. And it's twinned with a number of cities, is Fulda, Como in Italy, and Dockum in the Netherlands, but also Wilmington, Delaware.
Wow.
There's been plenty of pool history here as well over the last couple of years. The two European Open winners in this venue, Albin Ouschen and David Al-Kadi, and both of them went on to represent Europe in that year's Mosconi Cup, of course. And if a European were to win this, they'd be very much in contention as well for Mosconi Cup call-ups.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course you have the Mosconi Cup and the Reyes Cup also, so two huge events. One of them the inaugural, the other one labeled as probably the biggest event in pool, the Mosconi Cup.
So can Gorst finish off?
Well, it looks like we're going to see his opponent at least one more time. I think he's partially snookered on the blue 2. Been very solid with the one on the side, so he's got to be happy for that moving forward. Difficult push out, though. Just at first glance, besides playing the blue 2 off the red 3 to get something started, trailing 8-2 in this match, I think I passed this one back. I really just don't see a whole lot. Like I said, besides that kiss shot, the 2 off the 3, that with a high ball, it sits pretty nice, even though he's, you know, got some distance between. Well, Federer made that look easy. Cutting the ball a little bit from distance, commanding the speed to hold behind the red 3. Love to kick at this versus the jump. Jump's pretty makeable, though. It's decent. Cue ball's going to be going away from the red 3, though. So we'll see. Pretty unlucky there. Great strike on the cue ball and the blue 2. Cue ball got lost one rail directly in that left middle.
We'll put in this disclaimer before my next statement. He has been comprehensively outplayed, high, long lay, but I think it's also worth noting he's not had the best of fortune.
No, and you kind of wonder, you know, probably not a different outcome, but somewhat of a different outcome if he gets that 9 down in rack number 4 after a nice clearance and played pretty steady afterwards. Just like Phil said, not a lot of opportunity and then not a lot of luck. And you would say maybe a little was needed. Okay, Gorst, is he pushing through on the 9 here? Nice shot.
We spoke to Fedor, didn't we, Jeremy, briefly before he went down into the arena to play his match, and it was quite obvious he was focused, up for it. He's one of those players who's all business, and that's why he's been so successful. He's not one for distractions. When he's here for glory.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if anyone could take a match off, especially the first one, and not take a match off like, you know, lose the match or whatever, but, you know, just take a shot off here and there, and that's just not his style. He just works hard. He's wants to get a feel of the table. He wants to get used to winning the tournament right now in match number 1.
Well, that was, certainly in terms of the scoreline, quite an easy run out for Fedor Gorst, the world 9-ball champion, and the runaway number 1 in the world 9-ball tour rankings. He defeats Hai Long Lei by 9 racks to 2. Now we're going to take a 5-minute break, after which we'll come back to see a snippet of the Lo Shishiap Sioa match on table 1, and then our second match here on the main arena. It is Kopin Yi against Farkas Amazi Sharverdi. Michael McMullen and Carl Boys will be commentating for you on that one. Bye-bye for now. Plenty of perspiration. Now we're seeing inspiration.
Listen to the noise. This is to tie the match up.
It all would have been there for him.
Oh, my word!
He's got it!
And it would be the shot of the tournament.
Magnificent, marvellous, magical.
I'd have loved to have seen America versus the Philippines, Europe versus the Philippines.
And I think there will be the winner of the Mosconi against Asia or against the Philippines at some stage. There's a different tournament.
There's definitely something on another event to do with Asia versus the Mosconi Cup winner, and that's all part of the bigger plan.
It's Fulda, it's August, it must be the European Open. We're here in Germany for this event for the third year in a row. And in a few minutes' time, we're going to be watching Ko Pin-Yi in action on the main table. But first, we're going to have a look at another well-known Asian name, Aloysius Yap of Singapore, who's closing in on victory against So Soa. And it was 7-1. Another rack has been completed, and well, it's gone the way of Yap, so he's on the hill now at 8-1. And I'm joined by the new slimline Carl Boys. The Boys is back in town, but there's a bit less of him now. He tells me he's lost a stone since we last saw him in Saudi Arabia at the World Championship. Carl, there's a whole new lifestyle for you.
Like a tall Phil Yates. So I had to do something about it.
Now, come on. You never got to that level, no matter how much of that Saudi ice cream you had. Anyway, good to be here in Fulda once again. Albin Ocean was the inaugural champion here on his 32nd birthday 2 years ago, and then David Al-Kaidi was part of a run that really got things back on track for him after a bad few months. Was the winner last year. Al-Kaidi back here as defending champion. So this is So Soa, one of the leading women's players in the world. We saw her play for South Korea at the World Cup of Pool in Spain last year. And while we're watching what are likely to be the closing exchanges of this match, let's just see what's going on elsewhere. A few players on the hill. Fitim Haradinaj, who now represents Kosovo, is one of those players. 8-5 up now against Norman Bakker of the Netherlands. Ronnie Oldervik of Norway has an 8-6 lead over Alvin Anjito, the highly rated young Indonesian player who you played, of course, Carl, in the UK Open in Telford earlier in the year. Do Tae Kien of Vietnam is on the hill as well at 8-4 against the young Swedish player Walter Lekra. Aloysius Yap, as we know, is on the hill. We can see him looking on as So Soa tries to pull one back. Dennis Grabo of Estonia, always a player, a dangerous opponent for anyone. 8-4 lead against Simone Kunzel, one of the very sizable home contingent. And, well, just within the last few minutes, Talal Al-Blushi has won 9-4 against another German player, Dominik Deisenrieder. We notice this, Carl, don't we, every time we come here, that There are a lot of German players in the field we don't know about. There are some who go on and win a few matches, but even those who are up against established names, they don't tend to get beaten 9-0, 9-1. They always seem to have something to offer and get a few racks on the board.
Yeah, Germany is pretty much a hotbed of 9-ball pool. Produced some wonderful players over the years, you know, players who have won the big majors. You know, you look back at Oliver Oatman, Thomas Engert as well.
Yeah, Ralf Suke, of course, who won just about everything, including the World Masters 6 times. And now Joshua Filler is the standard bearer for Germany. It's their second time in this country this year, of course. We had the World Masters in Hildesheim with that brilliant final that Filler just lost out in against Fedor-Gorst back in April.
You can just see where Jaap's aiming on the cue ball. He's playing a little kill shot or a drag shot. It's where you just aim low on the cue ball and kind of cinch it. That means the cue ball starts off a little quicker, and as it gets to the object ball, it slows down. And it's going to be a 6-9 combination for an easy win in the end. So she's a difficult opponent. Jaap will have known that when the draw was made, so he'll be delighted if he makes this combo to see an easy win.
Yeah, she's been heavily beaten in this match, but we've seen a number of times over the last few years, even when playing at this level, Soa can beat decent opponents and put up a good show. Not to be today, so she will go to the loser's side. Jaap, a 9-1 winner. At the moment, it looks as though Jaap's next opponent will be Yuma Dorner of Germany, currently leading 7-3 against Sasha Andre Tega. Well, they're all smiles and chat now. The contest is over. And we will turn our focus to the main table where they're having the warm-up. It's Ko Pin-Yi, winner of the World Masters last year, taking on Farhad Chaverdi. Who is representing Germany now, but is originally from Tehran, the capital city of Iran. Has lived in this country, though, most of his life. Massive task for him today.
The familiar cue action of Ko Pin-Yi. What a player he is. Going to be an interesting week. We're playing on the diamond table. The pockets are cut just under 4 inches. We've seen that at the UK Open. I know some of the players more on the outside tables where, you know, you've not got the bigger lights which beam down on this TV table. Makes the pockets a little tighter.
Yeah, we should mention as well a few things that have changed here, and unquestionably positive moves. One is we've now got a shot clock on the main table right from the start of the tournament. At some of these events it only comes in at the last 16. But that's changing now, so that, I think, is definitely a step in the right direction. And also, Carl, the fact that now we're going to be playing in this main arena setting right from the start of the tournament, because with a lot of these tournaments, again, this has been reserved until we get to the last 16 stage. But great to make use of this setting right from the start of the tournament, which is what we're doing here this week.
Yeah, that was a smart decision from the bosses, because why not play in this nice arena? Always felt like it was a bit of a shame for the opening 4 days. Obviously, we're playing double elimination, 256 down to the final 64, which is then single elimination. And then, of course, when we get to the final 16, we go live on Sky Sports.
Tell you what, I doubt you ever sat in a chair as good as that during your playing days, Carl. It's like the Emperor or something sitting there. It's fantastic. Well, why haven't we got a couple of those up here?
Yeah, I was just going to say, we could do with a couple of them. Well, he's in danger of falling asleep.
Yeah, I had a nice chat with him earlier, Farhad Chaverdi. As I said, he's from Tehran, but he moved to this country, Stuttgart specifically, when he was 13 years of age. He's now 50, so he's been here for a very long time. And he did tell me that he hasn't had a great deal of time to even prepare for this. He's only had a couple of hours practice in the build-up to the European Open. So we see this so often in the early rounds of these Open events. It's one of the superstars of the game against someone we know very little about. And you can always tell early on if a player is going to settle into the unfamiliar environment. And sometimes what we see is players who do settle in and then they miss an easy ball and it seems to throw them and they never really recover from it. The body language suggests he's a pretty laid-back sort of player, so we'll see how he gets on. But we'll have to wait a little longer for that because Ko Pin-Yi is going to start us off. Race to 9 in the first round of this 2024 European Open.
Well, it was a good break, wasn't it? If you've been following the World 9-Ball Tour for a few years now, since this break rule come in, you know the players are trying to pop the yellow one ball in the side pocket. And believe me, it's not as easy as these top players make it look, but Ko Pin-Yi, probably one of the best to break like that. If he was to have a ranking, he'd be well up near the top. And he's got a shot at this 2-ball. 3 balls over the left corner pocket, so it's not the worst opportunity, this. He may go low on the cue ball, swing it round off 2 rails. He could also play 1 rail, maybe roll into the 9, but players don't really like taking them type of gambles, so he's going low. Yeah, and he's coming off the 2nd rail. This looks easy, but it's not easy. It's a little bit of a tester in the sense of your cue ball control. He's aiming low again. Is he trying to just come off the left rail? Well, he's tried to draw it straight back. Left himself a bit of distance.
"35 years of age, Ko Pin-Yi, 13th in the world rankings. And the highlight of his 9-ball career, undoubtedly winning the World Championship back in 2015.
Well, didn't get close, did he?
I think it was my fault for bigging him up so much, talking about his past achievements. Well, that gives a perhaps unexpected opportunity for Chiverdi to come to the table in the opening rack. He must have been fearing the worst there.
Yeah, it's not an easy shot, this. On a bigger pocket, or a table that you might have in your club, you may be tempted to chop this ball up the rail. Decided to try and play safe. Well, nicely done. Got behind the purple 5.
Yeah, when I spoke to him earlier, it didn't really seem to have got into his head at all, the fact that he was playing on the main table, which is great because you want to go out there and just play the way you normally do.
Gonna need some help. Didn't hit the kick how he wanted.
You know, very often when someone is in Chiverdi's situation, we say they just want to be given a bit of a gift early on to get them started. But this doesn't fall into that category. He's forced this opportunity by coming to the table with his first shot and playing a good safety.
Yeah, and it's also like what you were saying earlier, Michael. We've seen these type of matches in these open events a lot where the second favourite gets an opportunity and they don't take it. His cue action is a little unique, let's say. Stands very high off the cue. That usually means you're going to miss more balls. Look how high he is. That's incredible.
Well, as someone who's probably spent more time watching Q Sports than just about anyone on planet Earth over the last 40 years, I can honestly say I never remember seeing anyone in any Q Sports standing anywhere near as high as that.
The dreaded bridge. This is an implement that pretty much all pool players around the world are terrible at using, just because we don't use it that often. The mistake has come.
Well, that's a shame for him, you know, because it was a good chance to take the lead against one of the best players of the last decade or so, and left himself the test on the 7 using the Moosehead. And now, every chance it's going to cost him the opening rack. Oh, that could be a friendly little bump in the end. It certainly hasn't done him any harm.
Yeah, without the flick there on the side pocket, it would have been in a bit of no man's land. Very useful nudge. 8 ball has disappeared. Wasn't the best opening rack, but who cares? It's all about potting the 9, which he does so.
Yeah, unexpected opportunity for Chiverdi. He looked comfortable enough. Missed a tricky one on the 7, and Ko Pin-Yi has mopped up from there to win the opening rack. Vitim Haradinaj has won the closing rack against Norman Bakker of the Netherlands. So a 9-5 win for the man who now represents Kosovo. And we've got a hill-hill finish on table 11. Alvanan Gito of Indonesia has pulled it back to 8-all now against the Norwegian Ronnie Oldervik. Ivan Coelho of Portugal has raced into a 4-0 lead over the young Finn, Riku Rompainen. Could be a hill-hill finish on table 3. Radoslav Babica 8-7 up against Yannick Pongers. Dutch player looking to take that one all the way. We mentioned Ralph Souquet a little earlier. He's already won today, 9-1 against Britain's Matthew Wrigley. BJ Ussery of the US is on the hill at 8-7 against Britain's Dean Shields. And one more winner to tell you about: Dennis Grabo of Estonia, 9-4 over Simone Kunzel. Very early stages then of this European Open. Ko Pin-Yi made the one off the break in the first rack. He gets us underway again, leading 1-0.
A good break. No shot on the 2 ball though. May even have to play a push out. And he's just having a look if he can see that left edge. But if he can, you feel like that's not easy to play safe off, because you're going to sort of cut it towards that pocket. So it's hard to get the hook. I feel like at the UK Open, Michael, a lot of the top players who are used to playing on the 4-inch pocket, and in some cases 4 1/4, 4 1/2, depending, you know, on which event is in certain pool rooms around the world. I feel like these pockets startled a lot of the top players. They were a bit too scared of them. You've still got to play the game, pot the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a very good word to describe it, actually. It was certainly a big topic of conversation. It seemed every discussion that was had about any match or the tournament in general, it seemed to come back to that. Robbie Capito, the biggest week of his pool playing life in the end, winning the title in Telford. And Capito, one of the players now in the race this week for the second spot on the Asian team for the inaugural Reyes Cup, which will be decided at the end of this tournament. Ko Pin-Yi is in that conversation as well, but the only way he can claim it is if he wins the tournament. Even getting to the final would not suffice. Of course, there would still be one more place to play for, so even if you don't make it this time, points you get here can really help you along the way. And in the case of Ko Pin-Yi, you would say even if he doesn't make the automatic selections, he would certainly be one of the front runners for a captain's pick.
Good effort. It looked like it had a good line. Tried to kick the ball in. Unfortunately, it stayed over the pocket. Green's 6 ball is tied up. He's coming to have a look if he can play a 6-8 combo onto the 9. Does look like it's quite close.
News of another Hill finish on table 7. Nicholas Dorr and Dennis Valdecker, both from the host nation. That one's gone 8-all. And quite a prize on offer there, because the winner of it will go through to play the world champion, Fedor Gorst.
Yeah, the new world champion, Fedor Gorst. New world #1. He's the world masters champion. What a season he's having. What a final it was as well, Michael, wasn't it, between himself and Eklund Katchit. Wants an angle.
Yeah, Katchi, since the World Championship, has been in another ranking event final, straight off the back of that, actually, in Dubai. He was narrowly beaten by one of the biggest names in the game there as well, Joshua Filler. And Ko Pin-Yi has won a ranking event even more recently than that. Just about a week or so ago, he won the Lushan Open in China, beating Jeffrey Rodder in a Hill finish. It seems, so far in this match, every time I talk about Ko Pin-Yi having won a tournament in the past, he throws in an unexpected miss. And Shaverdi is back at the table.
Very shaky start. Cue ball needs to travel. He has got there, hasn't he? So he's going to be having a look at this early combo. As long as you hit the lowest ball on the table. If another ball goes in, you stay at the table shooting. If the 9 goes in, you win the rack.
Well, you know what? He's not fazed by it at all, and with a bit of good fortune, he might have been 2-0 up by now, because he wasn't far away from making that difficult 7 with the bridge in the opening rack. And look how close he's been to pulling off what would have been a 3-ball combo to remember here in rack 2.
Yeah, he's having a go at this. The cue ball might even come off the 8 and pop the 9, sending the cue ball towards the 9. Oh, that was perfectly played, wasn't it? What a shot.
Yeah, he's had a couple of unexpected misses in this match, but that was a show of real quality from Ko Pin-Yi. The shot that clinches a 2-0 lead. And you have to say, it could just as easily have been 2-0 the other way. So interesting start to this one. Do Tae Kien has won 9-6 against the young Swedish player, Walter Lekra. Still no result from that Hill finish between Alvin Angito and Ronnie Aldrovik. Sanjin Pelovanovic, player who I think we all reckon could win one of these big events sometime soon. He's done well in a couple of them. He's won the first 2 racks against Andrei Schickling. Sam Henderson, young American player, leading Britain's Joe Prince, 8-7. And Mohamed Soufi, World Championship runner-up last year, did well in the World Championship again this year in Saudi Arabia just a few weeks ago. Got to the last 16 there, and 3-0 up against Ilkka Kangas of Finland. Large Finnish contingent here. Albin Ocean, winner of this title 2 years ago, has won the first against Carlo Blasi. Back here, Copigny has won the first 2 racks.
He's not struggled with the break, meaning he's potted the 1-3 from 3. Just missing the odd silly ball at the minute, isn't he? That's all. You can kind of understand it, though, I suppose, first match. One thing's for certain, he will be playing a push out here. And a push out is where the player can just tap the cue ball, he can roll the cue ball into another part of the table, you can hit another ball, you can pot another ball. The biggest thing to remember is your opponent can put you back in to play the shot. So Fahad will have the option of playing or passing.
You know, sometimes you see someone and you look at them for a while and you think, he really reminds me of someone. And then it suddenly hits you. Carlo Ancelotti, the legendary football manager. That's who this formerly Iranian, now German player reminds me of. That would have bugged me all day if I hadn't thought of it.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Decided to play the shot. It's gone wrong. I don't think I'd have been playing it personally. It just looked a little nasty one, full length, cue ball on the rail. These are the shots where you've got to give them a bit more respect now. You've got to get closer to the pocket. On a bigger pocket table, he'd have been down and potted this ball now. It'd have been a hanger. It's not the worst nudge on the 8 ball.
I mentioned there that he won the ranking event in China a couple of weeks ago, but he isn't the most recent ranking event winner because just, I think it was 2 days ago, Naoki Oi won in Helsinki, beating Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in the final. I was watching a bit of that before I came here online and looked like a really good setup there. Sanchez Ruiz in that final was looking to become the first player to win 7 events since the World 9-Ball Tour ranking system began about 2.5 years ago. Currently tied with Jason Shaw for the most such titles with 6 each.
Beautiful angle here, it's absolutely perfect just to slide across for the brown 7.
Well, you'd expect him to go 3-0 from here, but let's not mark it down just yet when you consider some of the balls he's missed so far in this match. That said, now that the 7's gone in, it's really hard to see what can go wrong. So playing his way into the contest, Copigny now leads by 3 racks to 0. Winner of this match will play either Badr Alawadi or Tony Drago in the next round. They're just getting their one started. Alvin Anggito of Indonesia has turned it round to beat Ronnie Aldervik of Norway by 9 racks to 8. And in another hill finish, Dennis Valdecker has won the All-German clash with Nicholas Dorr. 9-8 win takes him through to face the world champion Fedor Gorst. Incidentally, Fitim Aradinaj, whose win I was telling you about, he will now play Bezar Spahiu of Albania. And Jito's opponent will be Alexa Pechels, who we saw getting to the semi-finals of the US Open last year. And still no news emerging on those two Americans on the hill, BJ Ussery and Sam Henderson, both still 8-7 up in their respective matches. Darren Appleton, your old pal Carl, has won the first against Denis Lashkovsky. Mohamed Soufi continuing his fine start. 4-0 now against Ilka Kangas. Shane Wolford, American Mosconi Cup player last year, has taken the first against Tobias Hoyce. And that brings us pretty much up to date with what's going on. Mark Meisterbosch had a good World Championship, didn't he? 4-1 up now against Peter Lukovsky. And Jose Alberto Delgado was a 3-1 lead against Stefan Kasper. Lots to keep on top of. Copigny is keeping on top of things here. He leads 3-0.
Yeah, he's also 3 from 3 on the break. 1 ball in the side. Can he make it 4? He can. Him and his brother, Ko Ping Chung, they've really got this break dialed down. No shot on the 2 again, though. Of course, that is out of your hands. All you can do is make a good break shot.
Yeah, Ko Ping Chung will be playing a little later today against Hassan Osman.
Yeah, and there's a third brother, Ko Ping Han. He's also playing in the event.
Yeah, he plays Patrick Mountain. I'm just waiting for the day I get to say Mountain is on the hill. Rolled eyes from Carl Boyce. Didn't take long.
Yeah, that's okay. He's got the hook. I think he's took the bottom rail away. Can he swerve it a little bit?
Certainly getting plenty of hill finishes early on this opening day. We've got another one now on table 18. The British player Dean Shields has just drawn level with the experienced American BJ Ussery at 8-all. Made the contact, didn't make the pot, and Shaverdi, oh, another chance of sorts here.
Cue ball needs to slow down. I wonder if it goes through the gap. Can't do, can it? Maybe it does. Looks like he's going for it. Yes, it does indeed. That was very handy.
He's a pool hall owner in Sindelfingen. Did own another hall elsewhere in Germany, but sold that a few years back. And he's got a decent record on the very competitive German national pool scene. He was 1 rack away from getting to the final of an event on the German tour only 7 years ago, and was beaten by another player originally from Asia who moved to this part of the world, Mohamed Soufi. And he's done well in a few Euro Tour events over the years. And we ran Imran Majid very close, playing for the quarter-final spot in one of those way back 15 years ago now, so he's been around a while.
Just lost the cue ball a bit. Didn't want to come that close to the pocket. I think he's all right. Send the cue ball up off the top rail. Off this right side rail first, then the top rail. He's not happy with Summit though, is he? Yeah, that's the shot I thought was on. Maybe it was the shot clock. Maybe he just wanted to call his extension or something.
Well, he hasn't looked phased at all by playing on the main table against one of the best players in the world. And now, oh, what a chance he was given by what he'd done previously to get a rack on the board. It looked as though he might have passed it up, and then the 9-ball just died of exhaustion. So I think the way he's played so far would have been harsh for him to be 4-0 down, and he isn't. Chiverdi has won the 4th rack against Ko Pin-Yi. It's 3-1. Mentioned Naoki Oi, who won a ranking event just a couple of days ago. He had a close one already today against Khalid Al-Otaibi of Saudi Arabia, but got through 9-8. Sam Henderson, young American player, has won 9-7 against Joe Prince. So could now face an All-American clash with BJ Ussery in the next round if Ussery wins the decider against Dean Shields. Janiuski going very well, 5-0 up on Britain's James Telfer. Close one going on table 4 between the experienced Swiss player Michael Schneider and Dan Afriat of Romania. That one is 7-all at the moment. Dean Shields has pulled off that win over BJ Ussery, winning 9-8, so that's a very good result for Shields, who will now play Sam Henderson in the next round. Mohamed Soufi flying 6-0 against Ilka Kangas. Tim de Ruyter 5-0 up on Nishan Hulbig. Badr Alawadi's won the first couple of racks against Tony Drago. Mark Bijsterbosch 6-1 against Peter Lukovsky. So our first look at Chiverdi's break, and he's made the one in the side as well.
Referee just removing the template, the racking template that is. That gets all the balls touching, so everyone's got the perfect rack. And what's he got here? Not a lot. Could be the hook. Is he pushing it into the pink ball? Did he get there? What's he left? No, that's a poor shot.
Disappointing World Championship a couple of months back in Saudi Arabia for Ko Pin-Yi. Went out as early as the last 64 to Patrick Gonzalez of the Philippines. Got a bit further at the UK Open, reached the last 16, but again, it ended in disappointment because he would have been expected to beat Tobias Bongers, but came out the wrong side of that one. In terms of the other matchroom events this year, though, the Invitationals we had at the start of the season, did well in those, got to the final of the Premier League over in the States, lost to Shane Van Boning, and had a remarkable 10-1 win over Francisco Sanchez Ruiz at the World Masters to get through to the semis, where he pushed Joshua Filler hard before losing 11-8.
I think he's been called on a foul, you know, Michael.
Well, yeah. I think he ran out of time and didn't call his extension. Yeah, so ball in hand for Ko Pin-Yi. Well, that shows a lack of experience, I guess, on this sort of stage.
Yeah, something so simple. Make sure you manage your shot clock.
Well, he may literally never have played with a shot clock before.
Yeah, this is a nice shot to watch. Just swing the cue ball around the table because it's the purple 5 after this pink 4. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 rails, possibly even 5. Loads of right English. Could also draw it back near the side. Yeah, here's the 4th rail. That gets you closer to the purple 5. That's why he went that route. I think the early couple of mistakes from Ko has just slowed him in his tracks a little bit. Usually plays a little bit quicker than this.
But, you know, we often see in matches like this where it's a big name against a complete outsider in the early stages of an open event, where the second favourite, let's say, comes out, offers no resistance at all, clearly struggles with the conditions, and then it just becomes a matter of going through the motions to get a 9-0 or 9-1 win. But probably something like this, where you miss a few yourself, your opponent presents you with a few questions, it probably does you much more good. Having been a top player yourself, you would know, Carl. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I always felt it was a funny one. If you, I mean, no disrespect to any opponents you play, but if you feel like you're going to get chances, as what you've seen in a couple of racks, oh, you can almost take your foot off the pedal a little bit, can't you? You don't want to, of course. You want to go out there and play well, but even if you do go out there and play well, then you've got the counter argument of thinking, well, I need to do that against one of the top players when it matters, which sounds crazy because it still matters, but weird how the brain works.
So Ko Pin-Yi has restored his 3-rack lead. It's now 4-1 in the first round of the European Open. Ivan Coelho of Portugal just needs a couple more against the young Finnish player Riku Rompainen, 7-1. Another player from Finland going very nicely though, Jani Uski, 6-0 against James Telfer. Close one going on between Yuma Dorner and Sasha-Andre Tega, both German players. Dorner just ahead at 7-6. Winner of that plays Aloysius Yap. Dimitris Loukatos, who's been a quarter-finalist in one of these events in the past. 6-all against Yuri Pishklov. Albin Ocean, winner here 2 years ago. 3-0 up and at the table, closing in on 4-0 against Italy's Carlo Blasi. Sonyan Pelovanovic could be heading for a whitewash victory. He now leads Andrei Shiklin 7-0. Seems to have got there pretty quickly as well. Dan Afriat of Romania on the hill now, 8-7 against Michael Schneider. Tony Drago is 1-rack 3 to close to 2-1 down against Badr Alawadi. Mark Bijsterbosch just needs a couple more, leading 7-1 against Peter Lukowski of Poland. And Jose Alberto Delgado is 5-1 up on Germany's Stefan Kasper. So we've seen the one in the side every time from both players in this match. Ko Pin-Yi breaking with a 4-1 lead. Won so much, Ko Pin-Yi. Talked about that World Championship win. He also won the World Cup of Pool the same year with Chang Yulong. Beat England in the final in London. And of course, World Masters winner last year. And he laid down a marker on the opening night. thrashing Jason Shaw 9-1. Then saw off Shane Van Boning. James Aranis, who had such a good week in a close semi-final, but then cruised past Eklund Kachi in the final.
Look at that for a safety shot. Speed, the line. It had it all. Sounds simple, but just make sure you hit the blue to it. You know, if you give ball in hand up, you're in trouble. But if you get the hit like he did, well, you can fluke a ball. He's fluked the purple 5. That just shows you how important it is to always try and make sure you hit that ball out of a hook.
And we always say this, don't we, that, you know, for all the thinking and analysis, sometimes it's just reduced to balls running round a table, and something like that can happen. And although it didn't lead to him then potting the 2, he has been able to ask another question of Ko Pin-Yi here.
I thought Fahad was going to go for the pot at first on the blue 2. Decided it wasn't for him. Cole feels like there's a gap here. Watch the cue ball, he might draw it a little bit. Yeah, it just draws. I think he played the 7, you know. That was a classy shot. Can't stress how awkward they are.
He had more good runs last year off the back of that World Masters win. He was a semi-finalist at the UK Open just a few weeks later. He also got to the quarterfinals of the Spanish Open. That was played in midsummer last year in Lugo. He lost there 10-0 to Skylar Woodward. And I remember saying something along the lines of, well, you might never see this again, Ko Pin-Yi losing a match 10-0. And we came here a few weeks later for the European Open, and he lost 10-0 again to Anton Raga.
It's hard to believe one of the best players in the world could lose 10 racks to 0, but it does happen from time to time.
So this 6th rack started with the first dry break of the match, but it's finished the same way as most of the others we've seen so far in this contest, with Ko Pin-Yi potting the 9, and he's now more than halfway to victory. He leads 5-1. Hill now on table 4 between Michael Schneider of Switzerland and the Romanian Dan Afrias. Close going early on between the vastly experienced and successful Darren Appleton against Denis Lashkovsky. That one's 2-all. Also close going between the American Hunter Lombardo and Ivan Rudenko of Ukraine. Lombardo leading there, 4-3 at the moment. Shane Wolford, Mosconi Cup player, 3-2 down to Tobias Huas. Alban Ocean has stretched it to 4-0 now against Carlo Blasi. And Tony Drago from 2-0 down has levelled at 2-all with Badr Al-Awadi. Good to see Drago here, former World Masters winner, and made his impact on the Mosconi Cup over the years as well. Doesn't play in many of these tournaments nowadays, but he is here in Fulda. And he's giving a good account of himself against Al-Awadi. Marc Bijsterbosch, so nearly the Spanish Open champion last year. And so nearly through to the next round here because he has an 8-1 lead against Peter Lukovsky. Copigny not quite at that stage yet, but he's heading in the right direction. Now very much in control at 5-1.
Does the 2-ball go in the corner past the red 3? From this angle, when you're looking on your screens, it's always quite hard to see. Yeah, it might just go off the right jaw, the right side of the pocket, that is. A pool player doesn't like this, though. You always like to feel you've got all the pocket to shoot in. Yeah, went nicely. Cue ball could come round. We've got a possible 4-9 combo. Needs to avoid hitting the 6-ball. It's going forward off 2 rails. Looks like it's going towards the 6, so he needs to just cheat the angle. Yeah, he had to stun it. Bump the 8. Holds the hand up. It's all about this 4-9 combo.
This is for the first break and run of the match. Four-9 combo does get it done. And now Copigny only needs 3 more. He leads 6-1. So should be safe progress now. And obviously not a great deal has changed while that rack was going on because it was so short. Sanjin Pelovanovic, though, has moved to the hill. 8-0 now against Germany's Andrei Schickling. Jose Alberto Delgado, who reached the semi-finals here 2 years ago, leading 6-3 against Germany's Stefan Kasper. And that's what we have on the main tables today. Lucius Jaap already through comfortably against So Soa. Albin Ocean 4-0 in front, as I was saying, against Carlo Blasi. Duong Quoc Huang will be next up on that table. Duong from Vietnam, winner of the Scottish Open in May. Plays Abdullah Alenzi. Here on this table, next up, we'll see Jason Shaw against Lukas Lubchik of Germany. And plenty more action to come later on in the day. We don't know what the other matches will be on the main tables because they will be in subsequent rounds. Effectively, what happens is over the first couple of days, we've got one half of the draw starts off on day 1 and then the other half on the next day. It's only after that that we start seeing all the remaining players playing on the same day. So Copigny 6-1 up after that 4-9 combination. Looking for 3 more. So that's the second time in the last 3 racks that he's missed the one off the break. And Chiverdi will not be too disappointed with how these have finished.
Yeah, it just shows you how good you've got to hit the break. One ball hit the point, stayed on the table.
Marc Bijsterbosch has now won 9-1 against Poland's Peter Lukovsky. And at the moment, looks like playing Jose Alberto Delgado in the next round. As I said, Delgado 6-3 up on Stefan Kasper.
Two options: flick off the side of the one, that runs the cue ball, or go full into the one. That will move the 8. Yeah, that's what he's played. Lost this Stoke. Knows it. Left the pot. Looks quite straight though, doesn't it? You might have to dig down on the cue ball to play a stop shot, which means you have to hit it a little firmer, which means you could miss the pot more. Well, someone needs to throw the towel in, I think, Michael.
Yeah, it's a pity because early on he was perhaps a little bit unfortunate and could have won both of the first couple of racks. But as I was saying before we even started, you sometimes see this with very inexperienced players when they play in this sort of situation. Once they start to miss one or two, it can all go very ragged, and I think that maybe is what's happening to Chiverdi here. Couple more winners to tell you about in the last few moments. Jan Ioski 9-0 over James Telfer. Una Dorner has now finished it off. Strong finish against Sacha-Andre Tega, pulling away for a 9-6 win. And will now face Aloysius Yap.
Getting a little clumsy out there.
Oh, you can't be doing that. I mean, as I say, he's not looked as though he's struggled being out there. The body language doesn't suggest that, but we highlighted it early on, didn't we? That cue action and the stance and everything. You're going to miss a lot of balls that you really shouldn't.
He was playing the cue ball. What a cue ball he has played. Look at that for a lock-up. Yeah, and after the good safety from Coe, it's always going to be difficult to hit that one.
Another winner, Sanjin Pelovanovic, through without losing a rack against Andre Schickling, 9-0. We've seen Pelovanovic do well in a number of matchroom events now, go very deep in them. Do you think he's at a level where he could win one of these? Or is it too early for that?
No, I think he can definitely snap one of these events off. It's just we just know how hard it is to do that, don't we? But as you said, he has knocked on the door. He's been to semis, hasn't he? Did the semis in Hanoi?
Yeah, and I think when you look at what happened at the UK Open, well, Robbie Capito won the title. And I think going into that, you would probably have rated Pelovanovic significantly higher than Capito as an imminent title-winning prospect. So when players see things like that, they look at it and say, yeah, Capito's a very good player, but he's no better than me, so if he can win one, I can.
Well, that positional shot was out of the top draw. Really was.
Here's a question for you, actually, off the back of that, Carl. If you were told that somebody was going to win the tournament this week or sometime soon who hasn't won one of these before, who would you say would be the most likely? If you want to look at it in terms of who's first in the queue, obviously that isn't how it works, but Who would be the most likely player, do you think, to make that breakthrough who hasn't won a tournament like this yet?
Do you know, I feel like man who got to the final last year, Raga. Really like his game. He's a very clever player. He's got a lot of bottle, a lot of heart. I know he's regarded as, not saying the best, but one of the best in the Philippines right now.
Yeah, that's actually a brilliant shout. I can't disagree with that even slightly. So Ko Pin-Yi has now won 4 racks in a row. It's his longest winning streak so far in the match, and it's taken him to within a couple more racks of victory. He now leads 7-1.
Are we talking open events or?
Yeah, an event of this stature, you know, where you've got the television cameras, everyone's here.
Yeah, I think it's Raga for me. He would be my pick.
Dimitris Loukatos, who's been a quarter-finalist in one of these big Matchroom Open events before, is now on the hill at 8-6 against Yuri Pishklov.
I thought that was your pick there.